They put the cloth over her face like she wasn't human enough to look at, and when Sheriff Oswin asked if she had any last words before the county transported her out, she only said 3, please, end it fast. The burlap smelled like feed. Like the barn where Anna Marie Coulter had slept her first night in Palo Seco, 8 months back, when she still thought a town this small might let her stay invisible. August noon in the square. The crowd made a perfect circle. 40, maybe 50 people who'd known her well enough to take her coffee order, but not well enough to believe her when it mattered. Sheriff Oswin read the charges: theft, distribution. The clinic owner's brother stood 3 people deep, watching, and his hands were bound. The platform was pine, built the same year Arizona became a state. She couldn't see through the cloth, but she could feel them staring. Or not staring. Worse. At the edge of the circle, Cal Brenner's truck kicked up dust. Didn't look back. Cal didn't plan to go back to town that night. Hadn't planned on doing a damn thing but drink himself to sleep. But at 11 p.m., the windmill stopped creaking. And in that silence, he heard his brother's voice. You just gonna watch this one die too? The whiskey was Jim Beam. He'd gotten through half the bottle sitting on his porch, watching the stars like they owed him answers. 23 years he'd been listening to that windmill. 23 years of rust and squealing metal, reminding him that time kept moving whether you wanted it to or not. When it stopped, the desert went so quiet he could hear his own heartbeat. He set the bottle down, stood, didn't bother locking the door. The 79 Ford fired on the second try. County Road 19 stretched out black and empty, nothing but his headlights and the white line and the memory of his brother standing in an orange jumpsuit, saying, "You did the right thing, Cal. I just wish it hadn't killed us both." The holding cell was attached to the sheriff's office. One room, cinder block, built back when Palo Seco still had copper money. Deputy Wallace was asleep at his desk, head down, radio playing something about the Dodgers. Anna Marie sat on the bench inside the cell, still wearing the same clothes from the square. The cloth, that goddamn burlap hood, was folded in her lap like something precious. Cal stood in the doorway, didn't announce himself. She looked up, no surprise in her face, just exhaustion. "You coming or not?" he said. She didn't ask why, didn't ask how, just stood, walked to the bars. The keys were hanging on a hook by Wallace's coffee. Cal took them. His hands didn't shake. They should have, but they didn't. The lock clicked open louder than it should have. Anna stepped out, still holding the cloth. "Leave it," Cal said. She looked at him. "No." He didn't argue. 20 minutes on County Road 19. Neither of them spoke. The radio was busted, so the only sound was the engine in the road and Anna's breathing. Short, careful, like she was trying not to take up too much space even in a truck cab. Cal kept his eyes forward. Didn't know what the hell he was doing. Didn't know what he'd say if Wallace woke up and called Oswin. Didn't know anything except that watching her stand there in that square with a feed sack over her face had felt like watching his brother die all over again. "Where are we going?" she asked. First word since the cell. "My place." "Why?" "Don't know." She turned that over, nodded once. The windmill came into view first, tall and skeletal against the stars. And as they pulled up the drive, it started creaking again, low and rhythmic, like a heartbeat. Anna looked at it. "That thing always make that sound?" "Yeah." "Doesn't it drive you crazy?" "You get used to it." She didn't look convinced. The house was small. Adobe, single level, built in the 40s when ranching still meant something out here. Cal led her through the front room. Couch, wood stove, table with 2 chairs, radio on the counter, and down a short hall to the guest room. It was clean. He'd kept it clean even though nobody'd used it in a decade. Bed made, dresser empty, window that looked out at nothing but creosote and sky. "Stay as long as you need," he said. Stood in the doorway, hat in his hands. "Don't ask me why." Anna set the cloth on the dresser, carefully, like it mattered. "Why?" she asked anyway. Cal looked at the floor. "Because if I don't, I'm no better than them." "Better than who?" "Everyone who watched." She studied him. Her eyes were dark, brown maybe, hard to tell in the dim light, and they didn't blink much, like she'd trained herself not to show anything. "You watched too," she said. "I know." "Then what's the difference?" "I came back." She didn't have an answer for that. Sat on the edge of the bed, springs creaking under her weight, even though she couldn't weigh more than 110. Cal turned to leave. "What's your name?" she asked. "Cal Brenner." "Anna Marie." She paused. "But you already knew that." "Yeah." "Why'd you really come back, Mr. Brenner?" He stopped. Hand on the doorframe. Could feel her watching him. "Don't know," he said again. "But I did." He pulled the door halfway closed, left the hall light on. He didn't sleep. Sat on the porch with the rest of the Jim Beam and watched the eastern sky turn from black to gray to that pale blue that comes right before dawn. The windmill kept creaking, steady, relentless. Around 3 a.m., and he heard footsteps inside. Anna appeared in the doorway, barefoot, still dressed. She didn't come out onto the porch, just stood there in the frame, like she wasn't sure if she was allowed. "Can't sleep?" Cal asked. "No, me neither." She watched him for a long moment. "You checked the locks 3 times." He didn't ask how she knew. "Yeah. Why?" "Habit." From what?" "Being careful." She came out onto the porch then, sat on the step, 5 feet from his chair, far enough to be separate, close enough to talk without shouting. "You didn't save me," she said, quiet but firm. "You're trying to save yourself from something." Cal took a drink, set the bottle down, looked at her. "Maybe." "What did you do? What makes you think I did something?" "Because people who haven't done anything don't look like you do." He almost smiled. Would have, if he remembered how. "I told the truth once," he said. Got someone killed." Anna pulled her knees to her chest, wrapped her arms around them. "The truth doesn't kill people," she said. "You sure about that?" She didn't answer. They sat like that until sunrise. Didn't talk anymore, didn't need to. When the sky turned gold, Cal stood, went inside and made coffee. Burned it, brought her a cup anyway. She took it, sipped, made a face. "This is terrible," she said. "I know. You do this every morning." "Yeah." "Jesus." He sat on the opposite end of the porch, 6 feet between them. The windmill creaked. Anna looked at him over the rim of her cup. "How long can I stay?" "Long as it takes." "Takes for what?" "To figure out where you're going next." She nodded, drank more terrible coffee. "Thank you," she said. Cal looked at the horizon. "Don't." "Why not?" "Because I'm not doing this for you." She didn't flinch, just set her cup down on the step. "I know," she said, and that was how it started. By the 3rd day, they'd fallen into a rhythm that felt almost normal, if you didn't count the fact that he never asked her name, and she never thanked him for saving her life. Tuesday morning, Cal woke at 5:30 like always. Found Anna already outside, leaning on the corral fence, watching the cattle. She'd changed clothes, wearing a pair of his old jeans, rolled at the ankles, and a work shirt that hung off her shoulders. Must have found them in the hall closet while he slept. He came out with 2 cups of coffee, still burned, handed her one. "They just stand there?" she asked, nodding at the cattle. "Pretty much." "That it?" "They eat, they shit, they stand around. That's cattle." She almost smiled. "Sounds like prison." Cal didn't know what to say to that, so he didn't say anything. They stood there in the early light, drinking bad coffee, watching animals that didn't do much. After a while, Anna pushed off the fence. "You need help with anything?" she asked. "You don't have to—" "I'm asking if you need help, not offering charity." He looked at her. She looked back, steady. "Fence needs mending," he said. "Section out by the wash." "Show me." They spent the morning on fence work. Cal taught her how to pull wire tight, how to hammer staples without bending them, where to step so you didn't break your ankle in a prairie dog hole. She was competent, didn't complain about the heat, and it was hot, near 100 by 10 a.m. Didn't ask stupid questions, didn't talk much at all, just watched what he did and did it herself. Around noon, he went back to the house, made sandwiches, bologna and yellow mustard on white bread, brought them out with warm Coke from the pantry. They sat in the truck bed, legs dangling, eating in the shade of the one cottonwood tree on his entire property. "How long you been out here?" Anna asked. 32 years. Inherited it from my father." "When he die?" "Yeah. Sorry." "Was a long time ago." She nodded, took another bite. "It's quiet." "Yeah." "That why you stay?" Cal looked at the horizon. Nothing but dirt and sky and heat shimmer. "Guess so." "You ever get lonely?" "You ask a lot of questions." "You don't answer many." He almost smiled again. "Twice in 3 days. That might be a record." "Sometimes," he said. "Me too." They finished eating. Anna crumpled her napkin, stuffed it in the empty Coke can. "You got boots that fit?" she asked. "These," she lifted one foot, showing his ex-wife's old work boots, brown leather, cracked at the toe. "They're a size too big." Cal looked at the boots. Hadn't thought about them in years. Marie had left them when she left everything else. Took her clothes, her record player, the good silverware, but left her boots. Never understood that. "Those are all I got," he said. "Who'd they belong to?" "My wife." "Ex-wife." "Yeah." Anna looked at him, waiting. "She left," Cal said. 12 years ago. Said the quiet was killing her." "Was it?" "Don't know, but she's gone, so maybe." Anna pulled the boots off, set them side by side in the truck bed. Neat, deliberate. "I'll wear socks," she said. "Make 'em fit better." "You don't have to—" I'm not wearing dead woman's boots. She's not dead. To you, she is. Cal didn't argue, because she was right. That evening, he drove into town for supplies. Anna stayed at the ranch, didn't ask to come, and he didn't offer. Some things were easier alone. June's Dusty Rose Diner was on Main Street, sandwiched between the feed store and a closed-down hardware shop. Cal parked out front, went in through the glass door with the bell that always stuck. June Martinez was behind the counter, pouring coffee for the usual Tuesday crowd. Ranchers mostly, guys Cal had known for 30 years and never really talked to. She saw him, nodded. Cal. June. Sit wherever. He took the corner booth. June brought coffee without asking, set it down, pulled out her order pad. You eating or just drinking? She asked. Just coffee. She looked at him. You look like hell. Thanks. You okay? Fine. June didn't move. Just stood there, with her pad and her reading glasses hanging on a chain around her neck, waiting. I need a favor, Cal said quietly. What kind? The kind you don't ask questions about. June sat down across from him, glanced at the other tables. Everyone minding their business, or pretending to. This about that girl? She asked, voice low. Yeah. She still at your place? Yeah. Oswin's looking for her. I know. June folded her hands on the table. They were rough hands, scarred from 50 years of kitchen work. Good hands. What do you need? She asked. Food, clothes, things a woman needs. You paying? Yeah. Cash? Yeah. June nodded. I'll put some things together, bring them by tomorrow. Thanks. Cal? Don't. Well, I'm just saying. I know what you're saying, and I'm asking you not to. June studied him. Then she stood, slipped her pad back in her apron. Your coffee's on the house, she said. She walked away. Cal sat there for another 10 minutes, watching the sun drop behind the mountains through the diner window. When he finally left, he didn't look back. When Cal got back to the ranch, Anna was sitting on the porch steps with a screwdriver, working on the window frame he'd been meaning to fix for about 5 years. He parked, got out, walked over. What are you doing? He asked. Window was jammed. Fixed it. Didn't know it could still open. She looked up at him. Most things can. You just gotta try. Cal set the grocery bags on the porch, looked at the window. It was open about 6 inches, letting in the evening air. Been stuck since 2003, he said. Not anymore. He didn't know what to say to that either. That night, he woke to his own voice shouting, Dream, same one he'd had for 23 years. James standing in the courtroom in his orange jumpsuit, looking at Cal on the witness stand. Judge asking, did your brother act in self-defense? Cal saying, no sir, he did not. James's face when the bailiff led him away. Only this time, when James turned around, he was wearing a burlap hood. Cal sat up, breathing hard, t-shirt soaked through, found a glass of water on the floor outside his door. Still cold. She'd heard, and she'd left it there without knocking, without asking. He picked up the glass, drank it, set it back down. In the morning, neither of them mentioned it. Friday, June showed up with 2 paper grocery bags and a Tupperware of something that smelled like green chili stew. Anna was inside when June's Buick pulled up. Cal met June in the driveway. Here, June said, handing him the bags. Jeans, couple shirts, socks, underwear, had to guess on sizes. And some other things. She didn't elaborate. What do I owe you? $47. Cal pulled out his wallet, counted bills, handed them over. June looked past him at the house. She in there? Yeah. Can I meet her? June, I'm not asking for a story, Cal. I'm asking if I can say hello to someone who's probably scared out of her mind. Cal stepped aside. June walked up to the porch, knocked once, opened the door. Anna was at the kitchen table, freezing mid-motion like a deer. Hi, Mija, June said. I'm June. Brought you some things? Anna stood slowly. You know who I am? Yeah. And you're still? Yeah. Anna's face did something complicated. Almost broke. Didn't. Thank you, she whispered. June set the Tupperware on the counter. That's stew. Heat it slow or it burns. And Mija? She turned back. You eat. You look like you're gonna blow away. When June left, Anna stood in the kitchen holding a shirt from one of the bags. Soft flannel, green and brown plaid, and crying without making any sound. Cal stood in the doorway, didn't go to her, didn't leave either. After a while, she wiped her face, folded the shirt, put it back in the bag. She's good people, Anna said. Yeah. Not many of those around. No, Anna looked at him. You talk to her much? Sometimes. She know about your brother? Everyone knows about my brother. And they still. June's different. Anna nodded, picked up the Tupperware, opened it. The smell filled the kitchen. We should eat this while it's still good. she said. They did. Sat at the table with mismatched bowls and spoons, eating June's stew, not talking much. But it wasn't uncomfortable. It was just quiet. After dinner, Cal washed dishes. Anna dried. When they finished, she hung the towel on the oven handle, folded it neat. I saw the sheriff's car today, she said. Drove past on the county road. Cal's hands stopped moving. He stopped? No, but he slowed down, looked. He knows you're here. Yeah. And he's waiting. For what? Cal turned off the water. For me to make a mistake. Anna leaned against the counter, arms crossed. What happens when he comes? Don't know. You're gonna lose everything, aren't you? The ranch. Your life here. Cal looked at her. Maybe. And you're still gonna let me stay? It wasn't a question. Yeah, he said. Why? Because I'm tired of watching people disappear. Anna held his gaze, long enough that he had to look away first. Okay, she said quietly. Outside, the windmill creaked, steady as a heartbeat. She'd been there a week when she asked him the question he'd been dreading. What'd you do that you can't forgive yourself for? It was Sunday morning. Cal came in from feeding to find Anna in her room with the door open, unpacking the small canvas bag she'd arrived with. Not much in it, a few clothes, a toothbrush, some folded papers he didn't look at, and the cloth. That goddamn burlap hood they'd put over her face in the square. She had it folded neat, like a flag at a military funeral. Set it on the dresser next to the lamp June had brought. Cal stopped in the hallway. Why'd you keep that? He asked. Anna looked up, didn't seem surprised he was watching. Evidence. Of what? That I was there, that it happened. Cal leaned against the doorframe. You don't need evidence for something you lived through. She turned to face him full. Don't I? Her voice wasn't angry, just direct, like she was asking a real question and wanted a real answer. People forget, she said, or they decide they remembered it wrong, or they decide you deserved it. She touched the cloth. Careful. This is proof that they did it, that I survived it. Cal didn't know what to say to that. He thought about the letter from James, the one he kept in his top drawer, still in the state prison envelope. Proof that his brother had existed. Proof that Cal had killed him with the truth. Yeah, he said finally. I guess you're right. Anna picked up the cloth, smoothed it out on the dresser. Didn't hide it, didn't fold it away. Just left it there in plain sight. You think that makes me crazy? She asked. No. Most people would. I'm not most people. She looked at him then, really looked, like she was trying to decide something. No, she said, you're not. That evening they sat on the porch, became a habit. After dinner, after dishes, they'd sit out there with coffee or water or nothing, watching the sun drop and the stars come out. Anna had her knees pulled up, arms wrapped around them. Cal sat in the chair, boots propped on the railing. Can I ask you something? She said. You're gonna anyway. Fair enough. She paused. What did you do that you can't forgive yourself for? Cal set his cup down, knew this was coming. Had been coming since the first night she said he was trying to save himself. I told the truth once, he said, in a courtroom. They asked me if my brother acted in self-defense when he killed a man. I said no. Anna waited. Judge gave him 15 years. He died in year 7, shanked in the yard over cigarettes. I'm sorry. Don't be. Why not? Because you're right, I told the truth. Anna unwrapped her arms, stretched her legs out, bare feet, toenails unpainted. She'd found sandals in one of June's bags. But you think the truth killed him? She said. I know it did. No. She said it firm, simple. Silence would have killed you both. You just gave him a different death. Cal looked at her. She was staring straight ahead at the horizon, but he could feel the weight of what she'd said settling between them. How do you figure? He asked. Because if you'd lied, you'd be dead too. Maybe not your body, but the part that matters. You'd be walking around knowing you lied, under oath to save your own blood, knowing an innocent man's family didn't get justice. That would have eaten you alive. She turned to look at him. Your brother got 7 years. You've been getting 23. So tell me which one's worse. Cal's throat felt tight. He picked up his cup, took a drink even though it was empty. You're smarter than you look, he said. I'm smarter than most people think. Why's that? Because I'm broke and female and don't have a fixed address. People see that and assume I'm stupid. I don't think you're stupid. I know, that's why I'm still here. The windmill creaked. A coyote howled somewhere out in the dark. What did they say you did? Cal asked. The charges. Anna's face closed a little. Theft. Distribution of prescription medication. Did you? Steal? Yeah. Distribute? Depends on your definition. Cal waited. There was a kid, Anna said slowly. 8 years old. His mother worked picking lettuce near the county line. Migrant family. No papers, no insurance. Kid got an infection, cut on his foot that went septic. Mother brought him to the clinic, but the owner said they had to pay cash up front. She didn't have it. Where she paused, looked at her hands. I was working at the diner. Kid's mother came in crying, asking if anyone knew a doctor who'd see him without papers. June sent me with antibiotics from her own prescription, but by the time I got there, the kid was burning up. Needed more than what June had. So you went to the clinic, Cal said. After hours. Broke the lock on the med cabinet, took what he needed, enough for 10 days. And they caught you? No. I gave the medication to the mother, told her how to dose it. Kid got better. 2 weeks later, sheriff shows up at the diner, arrests me in front of everyone. How'd they know it was you? Anna laughed. No humor in it. Because the clinic owner, Robert Oswin, the sheriff's brother, checked his inventory and noticed the antibiotics gone. He reported it. Then he reported me specifically. How'd he know? Because I'd asked him 2 weeks before if there was a way to help the family. He said no. Said if he helped everyone who couldn't pay, he'd be out of business. Cal felt something cold settle in his chest. So, when the medication went missing, he remembered the drifter girl who'd asked about helping migrants. Easy target. Did you tell him at the hearing about the kid? Yeah. And nobody cared. Her voice was flat. The mother was undocumented. The kid wasn't enrolled in school. As far as the county was concerned, they didn't exist. And if they didn't exist, I couldn't have been helping them. Jesus Christ. Yeah. They sat in silence for a long time. The kid okay? Cal asked finally. Don't know. Family disappeared after I got arrested. Probably scared they'd get deported. So you saved his life and lost yours. Anna looked at him. Wouldn't say I lost my life. You're sitting on a wanted man's porch in the middle of nowhere, hiding from the law. What would you call it? A pause, she said. Not an ending. Cal wanted to believe her. You ever think about going somewhere else? Cal asked. Starting over where nobody knows what happened. Every day. Why don't you? Anna pulled her knees back up, wrapped her arms around them again. Because running just means they win. Means they get to decide I'm guilty and I don't get to say otherwise. And staying here? Staying here means someone believed me when nobody else did. Cal felt something shift in his chest, like a locked door opening an inch. I'm not a good man, he said quietly. Yeah, you are. You don't know that. I know you came back when you didn't have to. I know you're risking everything for someone you barely know. That's enough. Cal shook his head. It's not about being good. It's about not being able to live with yourself if you don't. Anna finished. He looked at her. She looked back. Yeah, he said. Then we're the same. The next few days passed in a kind of suspended peace. Anna worked alongside him, mending fence, sorting tack, cleaning the water troughs. She didn't talk much while working, but her presence was steady, solid. Tuesday morning, she put her hand on his shoulder when passing him a hammer. Didn't say anything. Just that brief touch, 5 seconds maybe, and then she moved on to the next post. Cal felt it for the rest of the day. That evening, he noticed he'd forgotten to check the locks before bed. First time in 23 years, he stood in the kitchen, staring at the front door, unlocked, and felt something like vertigo. He left it that way. Wednesday afternoon, the radio was on while Anna washed lunch dishes. Local news, stock reports, weather. Then, Sheriff Richard Oswin has issued a warrant for the arrest of local rancher Calvin Brenner on charges of harboring a fugitive and obstruction of justice. Anyone with information? Anna's hand stopped moving in the dishwater. Cal reached over, turned the radio off. They're coming, she said. Eventually. Cal, I knew what I was doing when I brought you here. That doesn't make it okay. Doesn't make it wrong either. She turned to look at him, water dripping from her hands onto the floor. You're gonna lose everything. Maybe. There's no maybe. The ranch, your life here, your, Anna. He said her name firm. First time he'd used it since she told him. I know. She stared at him, then dried her hands on a towel, walked past him toward her room. An hour later, the phone rang. June. Cal, they're coming for her, June said without preamble. Oswin's got papers. Maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday, but soon. I know. Well, what are you gonna do? Don't know yet? Cal. Thanks for the warning, June. He hung up. When he turned around, Anna was standing in the hallway with her canvas bag packed. No, Cal said. I'm not asking permission. You're not leaving. The hell I'm not. She moved toward the door. I'm not letting you lose everything for me. Cal stepped in front of the door, blocking it. Move, Anna said. No, Cal, you don't get to run. This isn't running. This is saving your ass from yourself. Not your choice. It's my life, and it's mine. He held her eyes. You don't get to decide what I lose. I do. Her hands were shaking, bag slipping from her grip. Why are you doing this? She whispered. Because for 23 years, I watched someone disappear because I chose the law over a person. I'm not doing it again. This is different. No, Cal said. It's exactly the same. Except this time I get to choose different. Anna's face crumpled. She dropped the bag. Didn't cry but came close. You're an idiot, she said. Yeah. You're gonna regret this. Probably. She looked at him, long and hard, then picked up her bag, walked back to her room, and closed the door. Cal stood in the hallway, didn't move, couldn't. After a while, he went to the kitchen, made coffee, burned it. Outside, the windmill kept creaking. The truth came at dawn, delivered by a man who'd spent 23 years trying to forget the sound of a gavel falling. Sheriff Oswin's Bronco kicked up dust coming down the drive. Thursday morning, 6:30. Sun barely up, already hot, Cal was outside when they arrived. Saw them coming from a half-mile off. Nothing moves that fast out here unless it's law or trouble, and usually it's both. He set down the feed bucket, wiped his hands on his jeans, walked to meet them halfway between the house and the road. Oswin got out. Deputy Martinez, June's nephew, which made this worse, stayed in the passenger seat, window down, hand near his sidearm. Mr. Brenner, Oswin said, voice formal, like they were strangers. Sheriff, you know why I'm here. I can guess. Oswin adjusted his belt. State-issued pistol sitting heavy on his right hip. You're harboring a fugitive. Anna Marie Coulter failed to appear for transport last Friday. Deputy Wallace filed a report stating you were the last person to see her. Wallace was asleep. Wallace woke up to an empty cell in your truck pulling away. Cal didn't deny it. Oswin took a step closer. Where is she? Not telling you that. That's obstruction. Then charge me. Oswin's jaw tightened. He looked past Cal toward the house. Anna was visible through the kitchen window, standing still, watching. You know what she did? Oswin asked. I know what you said she did. She's a thief and a dealer, Brenner. Stole medication from my brother's clinic and sold it. Your brother's a liar. Oswin's hand moved to his belt. Not the gun, just rested there, threatening without threatening. Careful, he said. Your brother turned away a dying kid because the mother couldn't pay cash. Anna took medication to save that child's life. That's not theft, that's mercy. Mercy doesn't break locks and steal property. And justice doesn't let 8-year-olds die of sepsis. Oswin smiled. Cold. This is rich, coming from you. Cal felt ice in his gut. What's that mean? He asked. It means you've got some nerve talking about justice, when you're the man who killed his own brother for it. The words landed like a fist. Anna's face appeared clearer in the window. She'd moved closer. That was different, Cal said. Was it? Oswin's voice got louder. Performing now. Wanted her to hear. Your brother James killed a man in a bar fight. Judge asked you, his own blood, if it was self-defense. You said no. Sent him to prison for 15 years. He wasn't defending himself. He was drunk and angry, and you testified against him anyway, your own brother. And 7 years later, James Brenner died in that prison, shanked over cigarettes. Oswin took another step. So don't stand there and lecture me about mercy when you chose law over family and got your brother killed. Cal couldn't speak, couldn't move. Inside the house, Anna stepped back from the window, disappeared. You turned on your own blood, Oswin continued. And now you're throwing your life away for some drifter trash who stole from my family? That's not mercy. Brenner, that's guilt. You couldn't save your brother, so you're trying to save her. Get off my property, Cal said, voice flat. Hearings Thursday next week, 10 a.m. County Courthouse. She doesn't show I come back with more than words. Oswin walked backward toward the Bronco. And Mr. Brenner, when this is over, you'll have nothing. No ranch, no reputation, no life out here. All for a woman who'll disappear the first chance she gets. He got in the truck. Deputy Martinez looked apologetic but didn't say anything. The Bronco turned around, drove away. Cal stood in the dust for a long time. When he finally went inside, Anna was standing in the middle of the kitchen. Arms crossed, face closed. You testified against your brother, she said. Not a question. Cal closed the door. Yeah, sent him to prison. Yeah, for 15 years. He got 15, served 7, then he died. Anna's hands tightened on her arms. And you never told me. You never asked. Bullshit. Her voice sharp. You told me you told the truth once and someone died. You didn't say you put your own brother in the cage that killed him. I told you what mattered. What mattered? She laughed. Hard sound. You made me think you understood. Made me think you knew what it's like when the truth doesn't save you. It buries you. I do know. No. You chose the truth. You stood up in court and said the words that destroyed your family. I tried to tell the truth and nobody listened. We're not the same, Cal. He took a step toward her. Anna! She moved to her room, fast, came back with the cloth, that burlap hood, gripped in both hands. You know what this is? She asked. Yeah. They put this on me because the truth didn't matter. Because nobody cared if I was lying or not. I was disposable. She walked toward him. And you're the man who thinks truth is enough? You're the man who believes in the system? I never said, you testified. You believed that if you told the truth, justice would happen. And your brother died. She shoved the cloth at his chest. He caught it. So, what the hell are you doing here, Cal? What are you trying to prove? I'm trying to do right this time. By who? Your dead brother or me? Both. You can't save him, she was yelling now. He's gone. You can't fix what you did by saving me. That's not how it works. Cal's hands tightened on the cloth. I know that. Do you? Because from where I'm standing, you're throwing your life away for someone you barely know because you feel guilty about someone you loved. That's exactly what it is. Anna's eyes were bright, angry tears. And I thought you understood. I thought you saw me, but you don't. You just see another chance to choose differently. She turned away, walked to her room. Anna, I didn't steal those pills, she said. Back to him, voice cracking. I took them for a kid who was dying, Miguel, 8 years old. His mother couldn't afford the clinic, and your sheriff's brother, that good Christian man. He turned them away, said policy was policy. Cal stood frozen, so I broke in after hours, took antibiotics, enough for 10 days, gave them to Miguel's mother, showed her how to dose them. Anna turned around, face wet. The kid lived. 2 weeks later, sheriff arrested me at the diner in front of everyone. Clinic owner lied to cover his insurance fraud. Easier to blame the drifter. Why didn't you say that at the hearing? Cal asked, voice rough. I did. And the family was undocumented. Miguel wasn't in any system. No school records, no hospital records. As far as the county was concerned, he didn't exist, so I couldn't have saved him. She wiped her face. That was their logic. Can't steal medication for someone who isn't real. Cal felt like he'd been hit. Where's the family now? He asked. Gone. Disappeared after I got arrested. Probably scared of being deported. Anna's voice went quiet. So I saved a kid's life and lost mine, and nobody cared because the kid didn't count. Jesus, Anna. Don't. She held up a hand. Don't apologize. Don't try to fix it. Just, her voice broke. You should have told me about your brother, about who you really are. I told you what I did. You told me the facts. You didn't tell me you destroyed your family for the truth. She looked at the cloth in his hands. Keep it. Seems like you collect broken things. She went into her room, locked the door. Cal stood in the hallway, holding the burlap hood she'd kept as evidence of survival. Now it felt like evidence of something else. He pressed his forehead against her door. Anna. No answer. I'm not explaining myself, he said, the phrase he'd used a dozen times, but this time it sounded hollow. You never do, came her voice through the wood, bitter echo of his own words. Cal stayed there for a long time, until his forehead hurt from the pressure, until the cloth in his hands felt like it weighed 100 pounds. Finally, he walked outside, sat on the porch steps. The windmill creaked, the sun climbed, the desert stretched forever. Inside, behind a locked door, Anna Marie Coulter cried without making a sound. And Cal Brenner held a piece of burlap and wondered how many times a man could fail before he stopped trying. Tuesday morning, she was gone, and the only things she left behind were the boots that didn't belong to her and a note that said, "Don't come looking." Cal woke at dawn like always, knew she was gone before he opened his eyes. The house felt different, lighter, wrong. He got up, walked to her room, door open, bed made military perfect, corners tucked, pillow fluffed, like nobody'd ever been there. The dresser was empty, June's bags gone, the clothes gone. But the boots, Marie's old work boots, sat paired and neat by the door, laces tied together. On the kitchen table, one piece of notebook paper, writing in blue pen, "Don't come looking, you did enough, more than anyone. I won't let you lose everything for me. Thank you for seeing me. A.M." Cal read it 3 times. Each time the words meant the same thing. She'd left to save him. He set the note down, looked at the empty chair where she'd sat drinking terrible coffee, the dish towel she'd folded and hung perfect on the oven handle, the window she'd fixed, still open, curtain moving in the morning breeze. His hands wouldn't stop shaking. He tried to make coffee, spilled the grounds, tried again, burned it worse than usual, poured a cup anyway, couldn't drink it, sat at the table, stared at the note. The windmill outside had gone completely silent. Not broken, just no wind, like the desert itself was holding its breath. He thought about the last thing he'd said to her through that locked door. "I'm not explaining myself." And her answer, "You never do." The top drawer of his dresser held one envelope. State prison stationery. Letter from James, written 2 weeks before he died. Cal hadn't opened it in 16 years, but he'd read it so many times the paper was soft as cloth. He pulled it out now, unfolded it. "Cal, I don't know if you'll read this. Don't know if you should. But I'm writing it anyway. You did the right thing. In that courtroom. When they asked if I was defending myself and you said no, you were telling the truth? I wasn't. I was drunk and angry and I killed Tommy Vega because he said something about Marie leaving you. Stupid reason to kill a man. You could have lied. Whole town expected you to. Family's supposed to stick together, right? But you didn't. You told the truth and it sent me here. I hated you for about 3 years. Then I understood. If you'd lied, we both would have been in prison. Me in here, you out there dying every day knowing you'd sold your soul for my freedom. So yeah, you did the right thing. I just wish it hadn't killed us both." Your brother, James Cal, folded the letter, put it back in the envelope, put the envelope back in the drawer. Pattern recognition, that's what this was. 23 years ago, he chose truth. His brother disappeared into prison, came back in a box. Now, he tried to choose different, and Anna disappeared anyway. He'd failed twice. Same wound. Different person bleeding. 10 a.m., Cal drove to town. Not thinking, just moving. Body on autopilot. The Dusty Rose Diner was half full. Tuesday crowd, ranchers mostly, guys who had nowhere better to be. June saw him come through the door, saw his face, came around the counter without a word, led him to the back booth, the one nobody used. "Coffee?" she asked. Cal shook his head. June sat down across from him. She left. "Yeah." "When?" "Sometime last night. Found her room empty this morning." June's face did something complicated. Sad, but not surprised. "She came through at dawn," June said quietly. "Bought coffee with quarters from your jar, I'm guessing. Asked which bus goes furthest." Cal's chest tightened. "Which one?" "Didn't tell her." "When, June?" "Because I knew you'd come asking, and I knew you'd want to chase her, and I don't think that's what she needs right now." Cal put his head in his hands. "She left because of me." She left to protect you." "Same thing." "No, mijo, it's not." June reached across the table, put her hand on his forearm. Her grip was strong. Rancher's wife strength. 50 years of hard work in those fingers. "She told me everything," June said. "Weeks ago, the night I brought the clothes. She stayed late, helped me clean up, and she told me about Miguel." Cal looked up. "Miguel?" "The boy she saved, the one with the infection." June's voice went soft. "That was my grandson's friend Cal. My daughter Rose's boy. He and Miguel played together. Ran around the lettuce fields after school while their mothers picked." The world tilted. Miguel's mother is Carla Ruiz, came up from Sonora 6 years back. Good woman. Works harder than anyone I know. June's eyes were wet. When Miguel got that cut, infected so bad he couldn't walk, Carla brought him to the clinic. Robert Oswin, God forgive me for saying this, about a man I've known 40 years, he turned them away. Said he couldn't treat undocumented patients without insurance. Cash up front or nothing. Cal couldn't speak. Carla came to me crying, asked if I knew anyone who could help. I gave her what antibiotics I had left over from my own prescription, but it wasn't enough. The infection had spread. Miguel needed strong stuff, 10 days worth. June's grip on his arm tightened. Anna heard us talking, didn't say a word, just nodded. That night, she broke into the clinic, took what Miguel needed, brought it to Carla, showed her how to dose it, what to watch for, when to bring him back if it got worse. "And the kid?" Cal asked. Voice cracked. "He lived. Fever broke in 3 days. Infection cleared in 10. He's 12 now, still plays with my grandson." Cal felt something break inside his chest. Robert Oswin checked his inventory 2 weeks later, June continued. Found the missing medication. He remembered Anna asking about helping migrants, so he accused her, filed a report, called it theft and distribution. And at the hearing, Anna told them about Miguel, told them about Carla. But the sheriff's office couldn't verify the story because Carla and Miguel weren't in any system. No school records, no hospital records, no paper trail. Legally, they didn't exist. June's voice went hard. So the judge said there was no proof Anna had saved anyone, said she'd stolen medication for personal gain, probably to sell. And because Robert Oswin is the sheriff's brother, and because Anna was nobody from nowhere, the judge ruled against her. Cal's vision blurred. "She saved a child's life," he whispered. "And we punished her for it?" "Yes." "And his throat closed. I let her think I doubted her. After Oswin left yesterday, she tried to tell me the truth, and I didn't. You didn't know. I should have believed her. Yes, June said simply. You should have. The word landed like a stone. Cal sat back, covered his face with his hands. She's not guilty of anything, he said. No, mijo. She's guilty of mercy, and in this county that's worse than murder. Cal drove to the town square. Didn't decide to... His truck just went there. Parked where he'd parked that Thursday, when they'd put the hood over her face and asked if she had last words. The platform was still there. Pine boards, built in 1912, used for speeches, auctions, public notices, and, once a month or so, public shame. Cal got out, walked to it, climbed the 2 steps, stood where she'd stood. The sun was directly overhead, same angle as that Thursday, same heat pressing down like judgment. He could see the whole square from here. The diner, the feed store, the closed hardware shop, the flagpole. The ring of dirt where 40 people had stood watching. Please, end it fast. That's what she'd said. 3 words, barely a whisper. He'd thought she was asking for quick execution, quick deportation. Get it over with. But standing here now, feeling the sun and the exposure and the weight of invisible eyes, he understood. She hadn't been asking for speed. She'd been asking for mercy. For someone to see her, to acknowledge her humanity, and end the invisibility. End the erasure. Please see me. Please let this count. Please let me be real. And nobody had. They'd just watched. Silent jury. Including him. Cal sat down on the platform, right where she'd stood, put his head in his hands. And for the first time since his brother died, Cal Brenner cried. Not quiet, not dignified, just broke. Shoulders shaking, breath coming in gasps, hands gripping his hair like he could hold himself together through sheer force. He cried for Anna, for Miguel, for Carla Ruiz, who'd begged for help and been turned away, for his brother James, who'd died over cigarettes in a prison yard. He cried for every person who'd stood in this square and been judged by silence. And he cried for himself, for being too late, again. The radio in his truck was still on, local news playing through the open window. In other news, fugitive Anna Marie Coulter turned herself in to county sheriff this morning. Coulter, wanted for failure to appear and harboring charges, surrendered voluntarily at approximately 9 a.m. She is currently being held pending Thursday's hearing. Cal's head snapped up. She'd turned herself in. She'd left his house at dawn, gone to June's diner, bought coffee, asked about buses, and then instead of running, she'd walked into the sheriff's office and surrendered. Pattern complete. Just like he'd chosen law over his brother, she'd chosen law over him, protecting him by sacrificing herself. Cal stood on the platform, legs shaking, vision blurred. She was in that cell right now, same cell he'd broken her out of 2 weeks ago. Same concrete box, same metal bench, same bars, and this time he'd put her there, not directly. But his doubt, his inability to believe her fully, to trust her before knowing every fact, that's what had pushed her out his door. You never do, she'd said, and she was right. He never explained himself because he was afraid. Afraid of being known. Afraid of being judged the way he'd judged his brother. Afraid of being human. Cal climbed down from the platform, got in his truck, sat there with the engine off and the radio still playing. The windmill at his ranch was silent. Miles away, but he could feel it. That absence of sound. Everything had stopped. He drove home. Sunset coming, sky turning orange and purple like a bruise. The house was exactly as he'd left it. Empty coffee cup on the table. Her note beside it, the boots by her door. Cal walked through the rooms. Kitchen, hallway, her bedroom, bathroom, his bedroom. Every space she'd touched felt haunted now. In her room, on the dresser, the cloth. She'd left it behind. Cal picked it up. The burlap was rough in his hands, smelled like dust and old feed. This thing they'd put over her face to make her less than human. She'd kept it as evidence that I was there, that it happened, that I survived. And now she'd left it for him. Not as a weapon, not as accusation, as a gift. Proof that she'd been real, that she'd existed in his house, in his life, that for 2 weeks she'd been seen. Cal pressed the cloth to his face. Breathed through it like she'd had to breathe. Felt the suffocation, the darkness, the erasure. Then he folded it, careful. The way she'd folded it, set it back on the dresser. He walked through this house one more time, checked the locks. Front door, locked. Back door, locked. Truck, locked. 3 locks, 3 times. The ritual that had kept him safe, kept him alone, for 23 years. Cal stood in the kitchen, looked at his hands. These hands that had held his brother's letter, that had held Anna's coffee cup, that had held the burlap hood. These hands that had testified under oath. These hands that had opened a cell door at midnight. These hands that had failed everyone he'd tried to save. He walked to the front door, unlocked it, left it open, back door, unlocked, swung it wide, truck keys on the counter, left them there. The night air came through the house. Cool desert wind, carrying sage smell and distance. Cal sat at the kitchen table, picked up Anna's note one more time. "Thank you for seeing me." "I didn't," he said aloud to the empty house. "Not enough. Not right." But he would. Thursday, 10 a.m. County courthouse. He couldn't save his brother. James was 23 years gone, buried in a grave Cal hadn't visited in too long. But Anna was alive. In a cell, but alive. And this one time, Cal Brenner was going to choose different and actually mean it. Not by hiding her, not by running, by standing up in that courthouse and telling the truth. The whole truth. The truth that mattered. That Robert Oswin had turned away a dying child. That Anna Marie Coulter had saved a life. That mercy was real, even when the law said it wasn't. And that he, Cal Brenner, brother killer, had finally learned the difference between truth and justice. He might lose everything. The ranch, the life, the land. But he'd gained something he'd lost 23 years ago when that gavel fell and his brother was led away in chains. He'd gain a clear conscience. Cal folded the note, put it in his shirt pocket, over his heart. Outside, the wind picked up. And somewhere in the darkness, the windmill started creaking again, slow, steady, like a heartbeat coming back to life. The hearing was set for Thursday at 10 a.m., which gave Cal 2 days to figure out how to tell a courtroom full of people that the law they believed in was a lie, and he was the proof. Wednesday morning, Cal sat at the kitchen table with a legal pad June had brought him, trying to write what he'd say. "Your Honor, Anna Marie Coulter is innocent of—" He crossed it out. "The charges against Miss Coulter are based on—" Cross that out too. 23 years ago, I testified against my brother. Today, I'm testifying for—" He threw the pen across the room, couldn't find the words, kept trying to make it sound official, legal, proper, but the truth wasn't proper. The truth was that a good woman had saved a dying child and the county had called it a crime, and he doubted her when she needed belief. Cal pushed back from the table, walked outside. The desert stretched forever. Empty land, empty sky. Heat already climbing toward 90, even though it was barely 8 a.m. He stood in the middle of his property, 3,200 acres his father had left him, his father's father before that. 4 generations of Brenner blood in this dirt, all of it about to be gone. Bank would foreclose while he sat in jail for obstruction and harboring. Oswin would make sure of it. The ranch would go to auction. Some corporation would buy it, let the cattle die off, drill for water rights until the land was dust. And Cal would walk away with nothing, except he wouldn't have nothing. He'd have something he hadn't had in 23 years. He'd have the truth spoken out loud, in public, on record. That had to count for something. He spent the day working, fixed the fence section by the wash that didn't need fixing, cleaned the tack room that was already clean, organized tools in his barn by size, then by type, then by how often he used them, anything to keep moving. Because when he stopped, the memories came. James at 15, teaching Cal to ride. James at 22, drunk at their father's funeral, saying, "You're the good one, little brother. Don't let me drag you down." James at 28, standing in that bar with Tommy Vega's blood on his hands, looking at Cal like, "Please don't tell them what you saw." But Cal had told them, because truth was truth, because justice was justice, because he'd been too young and too righteous and too goddamn sure that doing right meant following rules. Now he was 54, and he'd learned that rules without mercy were just cruelty in a suit. Evening came. Cal sat on the porch, watching the sun drop behind the mountains. The sky went orange, then purple, then that deep blue that comes right before full dark. Coyotes started up out in the wash, yipping, howling, desert choir. "I don't know how to do this," Cal said aloud. His voice sounded small against all that space. "I don't know the right words. Don't know how to make them understand." The coyotes kept singing. The wind kept moving. The desert didn't answer. Cal leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "Yes," he said. "If you can hear me, if there's anything after, I need to know I'm not making the same mistake twice. On nothing. Just wind and distance. I told the truth about you and it killed you. Now I'm going to tell the truth about Anna and it might kill me." He laughed. Bitter sound. "Or maybe it'll save me. Don't know anymore." Pause. The stars were coming out. Thousands of them. More than you could count in a lifetime. "I'm tired, brother. Tired of carrying you. Tired of wondering if I could have lied. Tired of checking locks and burning coffee and living alone in this house like I'm already dead." His throat tightened. "So, I'm going to do it. I'm going to stand up in that courthouse and tell them everything. About Anna, about Miguel, about Robert Oswin turning away a dying child, and about you. About how I chose law over blood, and how that choice has been eating me alive for 23 years. Cal stood, looked out at the darkness. "And if I lose everything, the ranch, the life, all of it, then I lose it. But at least I'll know I chose mercy this time. I chose the person over the rule." The wind picked up, carried the smell of sage and creosote. For a moment, just a breath, Cal could have sworn he heard his brother's voice. About damn time. Wednesday night, 9 p.m. Cal got in his truck and drove to the cemetery. He hadn't been there in 16 years, not since the burial. Couldn't stand it. The idea of James in a box in the ground, locked away, just like he'd been locked away in prison. But tonight, he needed to go, needed to see it. The Palo Seco Cemetery was a quarter-acre plot on the north side of town, surrounded by chain-link fence and drought-dead grass, 20, maybe 30 headstones. Small town, small graveyard. Cal parked on the dirt road outside, climbed the fence. Gate was locked, but the fence was only 4 feet. Found James's marker in the back corner. Simple granite stone, cheapest one the county would pay for. James Robert Brenner, 1958, 1984 son. Brother, 26 years old when he died, 7 years in prison, 19 years in the ground. Cal stood there looking at the stone, hands in his pockets. I told the truth, he said finally. That's what you're supposed to do, right? Silence. Just crickets and distant highway sound. Judge asked if you were defending yourself. You weren't. Tommy Vega said something about Marie leaving me, and you were drunk and angry and you killed him. Not self-defense, not an accident, just rage. Cal crouched down, touched the stone, cold granite under his palm. So I said no. I said you weren't defending yourself. And the gavel came down, and they led you away. And that was it. 15 years. You got 7. His voice cracked. But truth without mercy is just cruelty, James. I know that now. I don't know what I should have done. Lied, told a half-truth, begged the judge for leniency. He sat down in the dirt, cross-legged, like a kid. There's a woman, Anna. She saved a child's life, and they're calling it theft. And I doubted her. Just like the town doubted her. Just like I chose law over you. Cal pulled the cloth from his jacket pocket. That burlap hood, folded careful. But I'm not doing it again. I'm going to stand up tomorrow and tell them she's innocent. Tell them mercy is real. Tell them the law can be wrong. He set the cloth on the grave, right at the base of the stone. She gave me this, kept it as evidence that she survived. Now I'm giving it to you. His hands were shaking. We're both done being haunted, brother. I can't save you. You're gone, but I can save her, and maybe saving her saves me too. Cal pressed his forehead to the stone. I'm sorry I testified. I'm sorry I chose truth over you. I'm sorry you died in that prison over something as stupid as cigarettes. The words came out rough, almost breaking. But I'm not sorry I told the truth, because lying would have killed us both, just slower. He stayed like that for a long time, head against the stone, the cloth folded at the base like an offering. Finally, he stood, wiped his face, looked at the grave one last time. Tomorrow, I'm going to lose everything. The ranch, the land, the life. But I'll have something I haven't had since you died. Pause. I'll have peace. Cal walked back to the fence, climbed over, got in his truck, drove home under a sky full of stars. When he got back to the ranch, the house was still unlocked. Doors open, wind moving through the rooms. Cal walked inside, didn't close them, didn't check anything, just went to his bedroom, lay down on top of the covers, boots still on, closed his eyes. And for the first time in 23 years, Cal Brenner slept without nightmares. Outside, the windmill turned slow in the night breeze, creaking soft, almost like breathing. The desert stretched forever in all directions. Empty but not lonely, just space, just time, just the truth waiting to be spoken. Thursday morning was 6 hours away. Cal Brenner walked into that courthouse Thursday morning and told them everything. Not just about Anna Marie, but about himself, his brother, and the difference between law and mercy. And when he was done, he didn't have a ranch anymore, but he had something he'd lost 23 years ago, a clear conscience. The Maricopa County Courthouse was a 2-story brick building built in 1923, back when people still believed justice and truth were the same thing. Cal arrived at 9:30, parked his truck in the dirt lot out back, sat there for a minute with the engine ticking, hands on the wheel. Inside that building, Anna, Sheriff Oswin, Judge Porter, a room full of people who'd already decided how this would end, and him, with a folder of papers June had helped him put together last night. Medical records, witness statements, insurance documents proving Robert Oswin's fraud. Evidence. Real evidence. The kind that mattered even when the people involved didn't exist. Cal got out, walked to the courthouse steps, stopped. Thought about his brother one more time. You did the right thing. That's what James had written. I just wish it hadn't killed us both. Not this time, Cal said quietly. He climbed the steps, opened the door, went inside. The hearing room was small, 20 chairs, half of them filled. June in the back, rosary beads wrapped around her fingers. A few ranchers Cal recognized but didn't know. Deputy Martinez near the door looking uncomfortable. And Sheriff Oswin, front row, arms crossed. Anna sat at the defendant's table, wrists in restraints, hair pulled back. Wearing the same clothes from the square 2 weeks ago, jeans, white shirt, both dirty now. She looked up when Cal walked in. Their eyes met. She shook her head. Small movement. Don't, he nodded. Have to. Judge Porter came in. Everyone stood, sat, the ritual of law. Case of the county versus Anna Marie Coulter. The judge said, failure to appear, flight from custody. He looked at Anna. How do you plead? Guilty, Your Honor, Anna said, voice steady. The judge made a note. Mr. Oswin, does the state have additional charges? Sheriff Oswin stood. Yes, Your Honor. We're also charging Calvin Brenner with harboring a fugitive and obstruction of justice. Mr. Brenner present? Here, Your Honor, Cal said from the back. Every head turned. Judge Porter looked over his reading glasses. Mr. Brenner, you're aware you're being charged? Yes, sir. Do you wish to enter a plea? No, sir. I wish to testify. Silence. Testify? The judge frowned. This isn't a trial, Mr. Brenner. This is a sentencing hearing for Miss Coulter's failure to appear. I understand that, Your Honor. But I have information relevant to the original charges, the theft and distribution charges that brought her here in the first place. Oswin turned in his seat. Your Honor, this is irregular. I'll allow it, Judge Porter said. He looked at Cal. Come forward. Cal walked to the front. They swore him in. He sat in the witness chair, folder in his lap. Anna was 6 feet away, staring at him, begging him with her eyes not to do this. He looked at her and mouthed, Trust me. Mr. Brenner, Judge Porter said, what information do you have? Cal opened the folder, pulled out the first document. Your Honor, Anna Marie Coulter was accused of stealing prescription antibiotics from Desert Valley Clinic and distributing them for profit. She pled not guilty, claiming she took the medication to save a child's life. The court found insufficient evidence to support her claim. We're aware of the case, Mr. Brenner, the judge said, impatient. Yes, sir, but the court was wrong. Oswin stood. Your Honor. Sit down, Sheriff. Judge Porter leaned forward. Explain yourself, Mr. Brenner. And Cal held up the paper. This is a medical record from Guadalupe Regional Hospital in Yuma. Dated August 5th, 2 days after the alleged theft. Patient name, Miguel Ruiz, age 8. Admitted with acute bacterial infection, sepsis secondary to untreated laceration. Treated with amoxicillin clavulinate. Same antibiotic reported stolen from Desert Valley Clinic. He set the paper on the judge's bench, pulled out another. This is a statement from Carla Ruiz, Miguel's mother. She states that on August 3rd, she brought her son to Desert Valley Clinic with an infected wound. Robert Oswin, the clinic director, refused treatment because the family couldn't pay cash up front and had no insurance. Your Honor, this is hearsay, Oswin started. This is sworn testimony, Sheriff, notarized yesterday by June Martinez, who witnessed the conversation. Cal didn't look at Oswin, kept his eyes on the judge. Mrs. Ruiz states that Anna Marie Coulter provided antibiotics that night, showed her how to dose them. The child's fever broke within 72 hours. The infection cleared within 10 days. Judge Porter picked up the papers, read them. Cal pulled out a third document. And this is an insurance audit of Desert Valley Clinic, requested by the state board last month. Shows a pattern of fraudulent billing, charging insurance for medications never administered, inflating costs, denying care to patients who couldn't pay while claiming financial hardship. He set it down. Robert Oswin accused Anna Marie Coulter of theft to deflect attention from his own fraud. The antibiotics she took would have been billed to a fictional insurance claim anyway, but more than that, Cal's voice got harder. He accused her because she made him look bad. Because she did what he wouldn't. She saved a child he'd turned away. Oswin was on his feet. Your Honor, my brother is not on trial here. No, Cal said, but he should be. The room went dead silent. Cal turned in his chair, looked directly at Oswin. 23 years ago, I testified against my own brother in a courtroom like this. Told the truth when everyone expected me to lie. My brother got 15 years, died in prison in year 7. His throat tightened, pushed through it. I thought I was doing the right thing, thought truth and justice were the same, but they're not. Truth without mercy is just cruelty, and justice without humanity is just revenge. He turned back to the judge. I can't undo what I did to my brother, but I can stand here today and tell you, Anna Marie Coulter isn't a criminal. She's what the law should be. Someone who saves lives when the system fails. Judge Porter set the papers down. Brenner, these are serious allegations against Mr. Robert Oswin. Yes, sir, they are. And you're prepared to substantiate them? Yes, sir. Mrs. Ruiz is outside. Miguel is with her. And June Martinez has employment records showing Anna worked at her diner, had no prior criminal history, and only took those antibiotics after Robert Oswin refused to help. The judge looked at Sheriff Oswin. Sheriff? Oswin's face was stone. I had no knowledge of my brother's business practices. That may be. But these documents suggest Miss Coulter's original charges should be reviewed. Judge Porter picked up his gavel. I'm dismissing the theft and distribution charges pending further investigation. Miss Coulter, you're free to go. Anna's face went white. However, the judge continued, looking at Cal, Mr. Brenner, you did harbor a fugitive. You did obstruct justice by removing Miss Coulter from lawful custody. That I cannot dismiss. Cal nodded. I know, Your Honor. 72 hours, county jail, and a fine of $500. Yes, sir. Furthermore, the judge looked at papers in front of him. Sheriff Oswin has filed a motion with the county bank to foreclose on your property during your incarceration, citing outstanding debts and inability to maintain operations. Cal's chest tightened, but he didn't flinch. That's his right, Your Honor. Judge Porter studied him. You understand what you're losing? Yes, sir. And you did this anyway? Cal looked at Anna. She was crying silently, hands still bound. Yes, sir, he said. I did. Deputy Martinez led Cal to the holding area and back. Small room, 2 cells, concrete floor. Anna was released from her restraints, stood in the courtroom, rubbing her wrists, looking lost. As they led Cal past her, she reached out, touched his arm. Cal, he stopped. Deputy Martinez didn't pull him away, just waited. You're still here, Cal said quietly. Same words he'd used before, but different now, deeper. Anna's eyes were red. You lost everything. No, I found something. What? He smiled. First real smile she'd seen from him. A reason. Cal, the ranch. We'll be fine. Or it won't. Doesn't matter. It's your family's land. And you're a person worth saving. That matters more. She broke then, fully, tears streaming down her face. I'll wait, she said. 3 days. I'll be here when you get out. Anna, you don't have to. I'll wait. Cal looked at her, this woman who'd survived being erased, who'd saved a child at the cost of her own freedom, who'd turned herself in to protect him. Okay, he said. Deputy Martinez touched his shoulder. Time to go, Cal. As they led him away, Cal turned back once. Anna was standing in the courtroom doorway, sunlight behind her, no hood, no restraints, no shame, just her, visible, real, free. Outside, Sheriff Oswin was loading into his Bronco, saw Cal through the window. Their eyes met. Oswin looked away first. In the cell, Cal sat on the metal bench. Same one Anna had sat on 2 weeks ago when he'd broken her out. Deputy Martinez brought him water, set it down without a word, started to leave. Martinez, Cal said. The deputy turned. Thank you for not making this harder. Martinez nodded. My Aunt June says you're a good man. I believe her. He left. Cal sat alone in the cell. 72 hours, 3 days, and on the other side, no ranch, no land, no life he'd known. But for the first time since he was 31 years old, standing in a courtroom, watching his brother being led away in chains, Cal Brenner felt at peace. 3 days later, when they let Cal Brenner walk out of that courthouse into the September sun, she was sitting on the hood of his truck with 2 cups of coffee and the kind of smile that doesn't apologize for existing. The storm had broken Friday night, real monsoon. The kind that floods, washes, and knocks out power and leaves the whole desert smelling like rain and sage. Saturday was cool, Sunday cooler, Monday morning the sky was so clear it hurt to look at. Cal stood on the courthouse steps, blinking in the light. 3 days in a concrete box, and his eyes had forgotten what distance looked like. Anna slid off the truck hood, walked toward him, handed him coffee. Black, she said. Like you make it. He took it, sipped, made a face. This is terrible, he said. I know, I made it. Almost smiled. Both of them. They stood there in the parking lot, not touching, not talking, just being in the same space again. You waited, Cal said finally. I said I would. You could have run. Left, started over somewhere they don't know you. Anna looked at him. So could you, but you didn't. Fair point. The ranch? He asked. Bank took it yesterday. Auctions in 2 weeks? Her voice was gentle. I'm sorry, Cal. He nodded, looked out at the desert stretching beyond the courthouse. Miles and miles of nothing but space and sky and possibility. It's okay, he said, and meant it. Anna pulled something from her jacket pocket. The cloth. That burlap hood. I went back for this, she said, before they locked your place up. Thought you might want it. Cal stared at it. Why? So we could do this. And she walked to the metal barrel outside the courthouse, the one they used for burning trash, dropped the cloth in, pulled a book of matches from her pocket, struck one, held it out to him. Cal took the match, looked at the cloth in the barrel, this thing that had covered her face, this thing that had haunted both of them. He dropped the match, The cloth caught. Burned fast, dry burlap, all that dust and feed smell and shame. They watched it turn to ash. The smoke rose straight up in the still morning air. Gray, then white, then gone. Anna wrapped her arms around herself. Not cold, just holding. That's it then, she said quietly. Yeah. And I was there. It happened. I survived. And now? She looked at him. Now I get to forget. Cal reached over, took her hand. First time he'd touched her since the courthouse. She didn't pull away. They walked back to his truck, sat on the tailgate, legs dangling, drinking terrible coffee in the morning light. Anna spoke first. You lost everything for me. No, Cal said. I found something. What? A reason to stop checking locks. She almost laughed. Would have if crying hadn't been closer. Cal, you asked me once what I did that I couldn't forgive. I can now? Because you saved me? He shook his head. No, because you let me see you. And that saved me. Anna turned to look at him. Full face, no hiding. That's all it takes? She asked, voice breaking. Being seen? Yeah, Cal said. I think it is. They sat in silence for a long time. The kind of silence that doesn't need filling, the kind that holds you. In the distance, a windmill turned. Not his, belonged to the Henderson place 5 miles west, but the sound was the same. Steady creak. Metal on metal, life continuing. What now? Anna asked finally. Don't know. Cal set his coffee down. No ranch, no job, 54 years old with nothing but a truck and 3 days in county jail on my record. I've got $200 from June, and a job at the diner if I want it. That's not much. No, Anna said, but it's something. Cal looked at her, this woman who'd been erased and came back, who'd saved a child at the cost of everything, who'd waited for him when she could have run. It's enough, he said. You think? Yeah, I think so. Anna smiled. Small thing, real. We? She asked. Cal nodded. If you want. We'll see, she said. Echo of his own words. But different now. Not evasion, not fear, just truth. Simple truth between two people who'd learned the difference between law and mercy. Between being right and being human. They finished their coffee. Threw the cups in the barrel where the cloth had burned. Nothing left now but ash and morning light. Cal started the truck. Anna climbed in beside him. Where to? He asked. Anywhere but here. He pulled out of the parking lot. County Road 19 stretched ahead, 2 lanes of blacktop cutting through desert that went forever. In the rearview mirror, the courthouse getting smaller. The town, the square where this had started. Ahead, nothing but open road and clean sky and the rest of their lives. Cal didn't know where they were going. Didn't matter. For the first time in 23 years, he wasn't running from something. He was driving toward it. Beside him, Anna rolled down the window, put her hand out into the wind, let the desert air rush past. No hood, no shame, no invisibility, just her, real, here, alive. The truck drove on. The desert stretched forever. The sun climbed higher, and somewhere behind them, in a cemetery on the north side of town, a piece of burlap burned to nothing on a grave that finally felt like rest.